Hey, all my fantasy football friends, what is going on, baby? It is week 17 of the fantasy football season. It is championship week coming into your living room. Here we go, baby. This is what it's all about: winning titles, bragging rights, winning money, getting trophies, getting jerseys and belts and rings and all that goodness. It is here for the taking this week, baby. It's been a long season. It's been a grind, and hopefully you're out there competing for championships this week. Welcome into multiple first Dynasty football here. I am Stoshx, as always, with your fantasy football, your Dynasty League advice. Joined, as always, by my partner, Greg the Philosiraptor. How are you, my brother?
It's finals week.
Finals.
I love it, man. Championships. Let's put some boats on the water.
Let's do it, baby.
Put some ships to sea.
Look at this. Greg's competing for a title right here in this taxi stand league we played in together. Let's take a peek at this little matchup right here.
I am. That's off to a pretty good start. I'm, facing the defending champ top seed there. But off to a pretty good start with Njoku. Unfortunately, Garret Wilson didn't hold up his end of the bargain, but still, I think between them, that was a good start. And
how'd the semifinals go for you last week, man? How did your overall semis go?
I went 8-8. And it was a tough end to the week. Mm-hmm. I was trending, let's say, projecting to 13-3 through Saturday's games, and projecting to 11-5 going into the Ravens Niners game. I had a couple of shares of Purdy. I was facing several Lamar shares and some Flowers, and I took some real bad beats and ended up 8-8 on them.
That's rough, man.
Yeah. Yep. It was a rough, and look, 8-8's fine. I'm in 8 finals in 27 leagues. That's pretty good. But I think it shows how these short sample size, right? Like, so if I have a good week and go 6-2, I'm gonna have had a great season, and if I have a bad week and go 2-6, I'm gonna have had an okay season because of like an okay and no better season because of 2 bad weeks, right? So it's important to give yourself credit when the process goes right and you see a lot of opportunity late, and recognize these last 2 weeks are a little bit of a crapshoot. I do feel good about this week. How about yourself, Tony? How many?
Well, I got a good story for you, man. So buckle up, everybody, because here it comes. All right, so I play in 22 cash Dynasty leagues on Sleeper. Now, I play in a few other leagues, redraft and dynasties elsewhere, but 22 on Sleeper, that's kind of where my main focus lies in fantasy football, right? So I made the playoffs in 15 of these leagues this year, 15 out of 22. That's a ratio I'm proud of. Of those 15 teams, I had 6 bye weeks. Now, a few of them are 18 playoffs, so they're not even eligible, but 6 buys out of 15, I feel great about that as well. That's a nice ratio. In first week of the playoffs, in week 15, Stoshx went 5-4 in my 9 teams that were competing. So nice plus 500. We're proud of that. We're good. We're happy. So now in the second round, we have our 6 buys plus our 5 winners. We got 11 teams playing on Christmas weekend here, and we're feeling okay about that. I'm thinking to myself, boy, if I could just convert a quarter of these into championships, win 4 titles, I'd be thrilled. If I could go 500 in the semis, I'd be excited about it. So it was the worst beatdown weekend of my entire fantasy career. I went 2-9 across my 11 semifinals matchups, and I was devastated on Monday night by I didn't even have any Purdy, but just the various antics of the game. I was buried in most of these matchups before Sunday night kicked off. T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Joe Flacco kicked my butt in one of them. It was really just a disgusting weekend, something like a 17% win rate. I was very, very disappointed. I lost 3 of those matchups by less than 3 points. Yeah, I didn't win any by any type of close margin. Yeah, just terrible. The only saving grace is my highest dollar league I am competing for the championship in. That's the one I have presented on the screen right now in this long game. This is a 16-team league. So I'm excited to hopefully win a title here, at least compete for one. But boy, just a disgusting black Christmas for your host here today.
Oh, man, that is rough.
Yeah,
Oh, Tony.
I know, right? But
Tony.
I have a good chance of going 100% in championships, so let's try to do that.
Yeah, and it's that makes up for a decent amount if you have a good one this week. Yeah. So
Let's get into our stashes, brother. We got some stashes this week. We got our stashes of the week in Dynasty.
Absolutely.
That's what we do here. We're going to talk about some low rostership players across sleeper rostership rankings or numbers, who are dudes that are probably or have a good chance to be on your Dynasty waiver wire that are startable assets in the future, potentially, or at least have the opportunity to gain some value. Maybe you can trade them off for a decent draft pick or whatnot. But stashes of the week. Why don't you kick us off today, brother? Who are you looking at your waiver wire for?
So here's a name you may not have thought of in quite a long time.
Yeah.
How about Tommy Tremble?
Yeah.
The tight end for Carolina. He is 18% rostered on Sleeper. And let me refresh you as to who this guy is. In 2021, he was a third-round draft pick, middle third-round draft pick, 83rd overall out of Notre Dame, big program.
He was like the third, fourth tight end off the board, wasn't he? He was up there.
Yeah,
yeah.
He was up there, and he was one of the youngest players in the NFL in 2021. He was 21 for all of his rookie season, right? And now he just finished he's finishing his third season. He is 23 years old. He turns 24 in the offseason, okay? And in the second half of the season, he became the snap leader at the position. Hayden Hurst got hurt. He's the clear number one for the end of this year. And last week, he had his first meaningful contribution week as a receiver of his career. He has a very good athletic profile. He has an RAS, relative athletic score, of 8.91, which is very, very good. I wouldn't call it. It's not necessarily amazing, but it's very, very good.
It's not elite, but it's high. It's good. Yeah.
Right. And so you've got all of these things. Like, it's not hard to tell the story where they decide they have other things they need to spend their capital on than upgrading tight end. Maybe they bring in an experienced veteran who blocks well to be the partner.
Yeah, Austin Hooper or something. Yeah.
Right. And like, it is not hard to tell a story where Tommy Tremble is getting 90% route, snaps starting week 1 next year. And then, who knows? Maybe he's the second target there. Maybe he's the third target. Maybe he's, maybe he's a guy you can throw in a trade, or maybe he's better than that, or who knows? I just think that there's, he's near free in so many spots. He's available in so many spots, and like, cut some of these, like Latavius Murray.
Yes.
Like, cut your Latavius Murray if you've been eliminated from the playoffs, and go add Tommy Tremble for free. Hey. He's much more likely to have value for you next year.
I love that. Tremble's a great example of the primary formula that you look for in a dynasty stash. I mean, off the wire, someone who had capital, but maybe has been down, athletic, clear opening on the team, potentially, just a clear path to the field on the team and targets, and also young. So it's all right there. It's the whole package with Tremble. It's not for sure that it's going to hit, but all of the pieces are there where once momentum starts to build, you're going to see this guy rise very aggressively if it does happen. So I love that for Tremble. He's probably is on a wire in the league you play in. I know I've personally cut him over the last 3 years a few different times. I've also picked him up, but that's a great pick there. Definitely worth a roster, Tommy Tremble.
Absolutely. And then look, if they go on the first day of free agency, they go sign Noah Fant to a decent money contract, then you cut Tommy Tremble. It's fine, and it costs you nothing, right? But like, you're taking these shots now when it's free, and you cut him if you cut him, right?
So my guy here for the stash of the week is going to be someone who's had some buzz throughout the season. A few different pundits. I really like this guy, and I can't say I'm in love with him, but I really enjoy the upside that this player represents. So I'm going to talk about Mr. Jake Bobo of the Seattle Seahawks. So Jake Bobo is 6'4". He's about 210 pounds. He was an undrafted free agent coming out. He just signed with the Seahawks. He has found his place on the field as a quality blocker for the Seahawks. He's a good run blocker, and that's why you see as I cycle through his stats here, he's about 20, 25, 30% rostership on the season. Now, the reason we really like Jake Bobo is because this offense will utilize all three of its wide receivers. I'm not saying all three of them have been elite, but all three of them have had fantasy productive games and see several targets in a game. The Seahawks use all of their receivers, those three. DK Metcalf missed week 7. And in that game, Jake Bobo played 75% of the snaps, caught 4 passes for a touchdown, and he finished as wide receiver 17 on the week. Okay. You can handcuff 3 different players by owning Jake Bobo. You could start Jake Bobo when he is looking at a starting opportunity. If I own any of the 3 starting Seattle receivers right now and Bobo's on my wire, I'm going to make room for him on my bench most likely. He is a guy who's probably going to be cut regularly throughout the offseason as managers make room for their rookie picks and whatnot. Bobo's got upside, and I think you should stash him, especially if you're a Seattle owner already.
Yeah, that's a great name. I like that. Very different profile than Rashid Shaheed, but he's a guy who
he's slow.
Has a lot, totally different profile.
Yeah,
but he has a lot of the same sort of things where undrafted player, but has consistently been fringe involved in the offense.
He's got like a Mac Hollins kind of vibe to him or something. I don't know. Maybe.
You just need the right things to break for him next year.
His Hollins was the big guy, right? The big giant guy, the 6'5" guy who had a big pop last year, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I like this. Yes.
Yeah. Now, you got another stash for us, though. What do you got?
I brought you another tight end.
It's a bonus stash coming at you.
Yeah, a bonus stash. I'm offering you Lucas Kroll, the tight end for Denver.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who is 3% rostered on Sleeper. I think that'll be higher than that in a day or two.
Yeah.
He did catch a touchdown this week.
Or when the wire runs on Tuesday or whatever. Yeah.
This is an undrafted free agent, second-year player. He played his college ball at Florida and Pitt. He was the second target after Addison, with Kenny Pickett. He went undrafted. He was on the Saints practice squad last year. The Saints cut him before the season this year, and he ended up on Denver's practice squad. And then they had some injuries. Greg Dulcich can't stay on the field. And very quietly, Lucas Kroll has made himself clearly the best tight end on this roster. And he's on the field in all the high leverage situations. He's on the field in the 2-minute drill. He's on the field whenever almost anything other than we're going to run the football twice.
Yeah, on the red zone, passing downs in the red zone. Yep.
Yeah, this is a 6'6", 260 guy with a 9.07 relative athletic score. He ran a 4.64 at 260 pounds. This is a very athletic player.
This is like Jelani Woods light right here. This is a big guy.
And he pushes the seam. Russell Wilson has missed him on several home run balls this year. He pushes the seam. He runs wheel routes. I think this is it's not hard for me to tell the story where he beats out Greg Dulcich for the job next year, or Greg Dulcich can't stay on the field next year.
Yeah, I don't think Peyton has shown any interest in Dulcich whatsoever. Not that he's really had the opportunity. He's been hurt so much, but he was inactive a few games, wasn't he? With a healthy scratch or something. I don't know. Oof.
No, he's just no.
Just been hurt all year.
Dulcich he's been on IR twice.
Yeah.
With the same hamstring injury, and he was on IR with a hamstring injury last year. And some guys just have a thing, and it's not hard for me to tell the story where Lucas Kroll is the snap leader at tight end for Denver next year. He is free right now, and I got to tell you, I think he's decent. So I'm adding him everywhere I've got just spots to spend.
I love it, man. They're definitely worth the roster spot. Tight ends, typically what I look for is scheme. As far as these late guys, these waiver wire guys at tight end. I mean, is the scheme suggest that this guy could have value? And I think any Sean Payton scheme is going to have value for his tight end. So yeah, Kroll, absolutely. You'll pick him up. You probably get him for $1 or less. Yeah. All right, that's stash of the week, baby. All right, let's talk about who we starting in the championship games. We got starts of the week. What's up? What's
Let
up?
me
What's
ask
up?
you a question.
What's up?
You're a Browns fan.
I am
How
a
you
Browns
feeling
fan.
about your Browns?
Oh, bro, we didn't even talk about it. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns just secured a playoff spot last night. If you've been sleeping under a rock and you didn't know that, we're recording on Friday evening, last night for me. But I was psyched, man. I did not expect Flacco to continue to perform at the level he has been. I'm really excited for the future of him. The fact that they were able to do that without Amari Cooper on the field against a defense that has had some holes poked in it over the last few weeks, but I think is still at least an above average NFL defense. Yeah, man, the Browns have been slaying it. I'm psyched. There's an outside chance the Browns host a playoff game, even if they don't get the 1 seed. If all the wild card teams win on wild card weekend, then all of a sudden the 5 seed Browns would play against whoever the 6 seed is. Right now, it's looking like that could be the Bills. A Bills Browns playoff game in Cleveland would be absolutely nuts. I've had my friends talking to me about it all week, or at least all day rather. But it's been great, man. It's been great. It's an egg on the face of the New York Jets because they did not hold Flacco. I don't understand how this guy was not picked up sooner. So yeah.
So let's. I mean, well, you say that. I mean, he hasn't looked like this in 8 years. I mean, like that's not. Let's not act like he didn't have a bunch of chances.
These
to
first 2 weeks in 22, he slayed it. I mean,
it was okay.
He had ugly games though too.
So let's talk about Joe Flacco. Is he in the conversation to start at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2024?
If they make it to like the AFC Championship game or something, maybe. But such an awkward question. It's hard for me to say yes to that with all the money around the other guy.
Is he in line to start somewhere in 2024?
Yeah, that's probably a better question. Yeah, I definitely could see him as being that bridge type, that team who drafts someone. Would he even accept that type of job, though? It'd be weird.
Is he better than anybody Pittsburgh has?
I don't actually think so, because I think Pittsburgh's offensive line would ruin any of the options, Flacco and the guys that are there. A lot of his success is based on how good the Browns offensive line has played. The Browns have 2 all-pro caliber guards, all right, between Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio. Those guys are awesome. And that's helped Flacco a ton, all right? And people don't seem to mention it that much, but anywhere that offensive line isn't in place, I think Flacco is going to go back into a 38-year-old man.
Okay, so you don't think he's better than Kenny Pickett?
No, I don't think so. I think if Kenny Pickett was playing on the Browns offense, he would be experiencing similar success.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The PJ Walker and
DTR
Thompson Robinson sure didn't look like they could play.
I don't think they can play. And I don't know. I've been really trying to stay tempered with Flacco. I mean, I'm excited about him, but quite frankly, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Every game that he's won, as I've watched the game, and this might just be my negativity as a Browns fan, I thought was their last win of the season. I just keep expecting the bottom to fall out. So that's the life of a Browns fan right there, man.
Okay, so
last night felt great.
So let's turn this the other way.
Yeah.
Is the Browns' other starting quarterback a market buy now?
A market buy. So yeah, he's trading as what, like the quarterback 20 or so, maybe a little lower than that.
Yeah,
right around there. Yeah.
The more wins Flacco gets, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lower he's going to trade. I just think an awful lot of people don't want to see. Anyway,
at this point in the season, for me, it always becomes about where do I project these players to be drafted? Not so much their trade value, but what about their draft, like roughly draft capital. So like someone like Flacco is probably going to be available in the 14th round, 16th round. I mean, even, so I love that at cost. And then someone like Deshaun is, if we started up right now, where does Deshaun Watson get drafted? Or if we were in April drafting, where does Watson get picked? I don't know. I wouldn't, all of my hate aside, even as a diligent analyst, I don't think I'd take him in the first 4 rounds. I can't imagine I would.
Yeah, but he's not going to go in the first 4 rounds.
Watson? Yeah, well, so where does he go then? I mean, 7, 8, 9? I still...
No, I mean, at some... I don't know. If you don't think Flacco is any threat to his job, it feels like in the world of quarterbacks don't have any job security, he's underpriced.
I don't think Flacco is a significant threat to Deshaun Watson, at least as the Browns see it. Projecting how the Browns see it, I can't imagine they view it that way. But
so
it'll be very telling in the offseason because he's a free agent. So if they re-sign him, we'll have clarity.
And you're not, and you don't think Flacco at these, like if you're a non-contender, are you thinking I want to hold Flacco because somebody may come for him to be their starter?
You should hold Flacco if you own him just because quarterbacks are so valuable. And one even if he lands as a backup job, like the most valuable handcuff QBs are ones that could do stuff if they get the role, and he would be one of them, no matter where he signed. So he certainly should be held throughout the offseason. As an owner of him, what would I trade him for? I'd expect to get at least a third-round rookie pick for him, at least, if not more.
Interesting. All right. Very good.
Very good. But other big quarterback news right now is for your Denver Broncos. So if you didn't know, Denver benched their starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, this week. And the way they're selling the story is that they're looking for a spark on offense. Do you buy that, or is the $37 million elephant in the room?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm reading tea leaves a little bit here, but so it appears that what happened is over the bye week, they went to Russ and said, we intend to bench you unless you get rid of your injury clauses, right? And he got the union involved. This appears to be...
Yeah, NFLPA got involved. Yep.
Okay. And then they shelved that for another 7 weeks, right? And just my reading between the line is if the NFLPA got involved, then they had their lawyers look over this. The team had their lawyers look over this. And a lawyer told them, you just to be on the safe side, you need to bench him for performance.
Yeah.
And it sounds to me like a lawyer has told them that your public pronouncements are that he was benched for performance.
They have to be that you have to take that stance, or you're going to face litigation. Yeah.
A lawyer has that, and that they waited, like...
Yeah, to lose 2 games in a row.
I think they spent 7 weeks waiting for him to clearly give them an excuse to bench him.
He didn't even play bad. I mean, statistically.
Yeah, he did. He was awful.
Yeah, box score watching, though, he was fine.
Yeah, but I can't tell you how deceptive his box scores are.
I didn't watch either of the games. So.
Yeah, no. You haven't watched his whole... I cannot tell... For anybody who has not watched Russell Wilson, he has been awful. He has been so bad. He cannot throw intermediate routes. Like, he has, I believe, the lowest ADOT in the league, but he also has a top 5 deep pass percentage, right? So, like, he's throwing amongst the most deep passes, but also has the lowest ADOT because everything that's not a bomb is right at the line of scrimmage. And
heaves and screens. Yeah.
It's dink, 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 heave.
Yeah.
And like where you make your living in this league is in intermediate passes, and he is probably a bottom 5 quarterback in the intermediate range. And the other thing, forget passer rating and all this other stuff. According to Pro Football Focus, 67% of the Broncos sacks this season are on the quarterback.
Ooh, that's really high. That's a really high number. Yeah. That should be like 30 or 40%, I think.
Right.
Normally. Yeah.
Right. So 2/3 of their right, and like you look at he gets sacked or he gets knocked down. Nobody goes and helps him up. I've never the linemen don't go help him up.
I think pick himself up every time.
Yeah, he just picks himself up.
Yeah.
I think he's lost the room, and he's terrible, and they're done. Yeah. So like this is a cut. This is not a. It's partly the money, but he stinks.
Yeah.
Now Jarret Stidham. Look, I think they're going to want to draft him and give him the job.
Yes.
Okay. But if they can't draft a rookie, I think like the next option is it's Jarret Stidham and they're bad on purpose next year.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at like Shedeur Sanders and Quinn Ewers the year after that, right? That to me is That to me is what this looks like. So I think there's a decent chance they're able to draft a rookie. I think this is going to be a very good rookie class. But Jarret Stidham is a guy who y'all should be adding as this is a stash too this week, right? Like, this is a guy who y'all should be adding as a potential 2024 starting quarterback, right? Like, this is your quarterback
Definitely.
3, and you could get him out there for free, right? So this is in that Brock Purdy, that Geno Smith, just like remember when everybody was sure Drew Lock was going to be the starting quarterback in Seattle?
I never was. I just want to say that. But yeah, a lot of people did though.
Right.
Yeah.
So and Geno Smith was just way too cheap that whole offseason. Like, I think Jarret Stidham is like the default starting quarterback in Denver for a while now. He's going to be until April. He's going to be top of the depth chart.
Stidham's the starting quarterback until otherwise addressed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we could go 3 days in April, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, Stidham's the starting quarterback.
The draft will be very telling because Peyton, he will want to take a shot at some mid-range QB, that second, third, fourth round type guy. Because they don't even have a first, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, they have a first.
Miami's first from the Chubb trade, is that right?
No. You're off.
They've moved. They've gotten past all the Russell picks.
The trade is done.
All right.
They have their pick this year.
The Browns are still eating it, so that's why I think that. Yeah. But Peyton will probably want to take a QB, and if they don't draft a quarterback at all, I mean, then yeah, it's wheels up for Stidham. But like,
if they take a third or fourth rounder,
yes,
I mean, it's still wheels up for Stidham.
It is, but I'd be interested in that other guy taking a shot at him.
For
I like Stidham though. I'm right there with you.
If it's not a first rounder, then I think you have to think, like, they're probably going to be bad on purpose.
I'd be perfectly fine dumping all of my remaining fab in any league to go pick up Stidham right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Absolutely. Let me say one other thing here.
Yep.
I get a real sense of glee about this from Jerry Jeudy. Of
glee?
Yes. I think he is super happy about this.
Judy's about to wake up.
Would not shock me if Jerry Jeudy was much better over the next 2 weeks.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, he's been so disappointing. Judy has. I have him on a lot of benches right now.
But yeah, I hear he and Stidham are fast friends.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, we'll be looking for that then. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, that's a good segue because Jarret Stidham is my start of the week at quarterback. As we get into these starts of the week, we're talking about Superflex leagues. We're talking about start 10, start 12 type leagues, tight end premium, PPR. That's what we like to play in. So with that in mind, Jarret Stidham is Tony's start of the week this week. So we have the biggest thing that's going for me on that is just the confidence that Peyton must have in this guy. I mean, Sean Payton signed this guy. He wasn't a carryover from the previous regime. Gave him a decent-sized contract, and he brought this guy in as someone who he felt confident he could teach his offense to, meaning Peyton could teach his offense to. And now we've reached a point where, whether the hand was forced or not, Peyton's confident enough in this guy to put him out there on an NFL field. So I expect to see a very well-prepared NFL caliber quarterback, not a backup quarterback, an NFL caliber quarterback, operating this offense against what is a very beatable Chargers secondary. And for a team that's not mathematically eliminated, although for all intents and purposes they are out of it, being the Broncos. We're at home here. We're in Denver. LA is bottom 5 against QB. I said that. Yeah, I like Stidham. I would play him over pretty much any other skill option you'd consider in your super flex spot. I would play Stidham over that player. I would play him. I'm not in love with Stidham this week, but I like him.
So, yeah, I like Stidham a decent amount. He was one of the players I was considering here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Does Sean Payton strike you as a kind and generous soul?
No.
Or does he strike you? Are we? Yeah. Do we swear here? Do we swear?
You can. Go for it.
Or does he strike you as a petty motherfucker?
Yeah. I think in order to hit that level of success in your life in any role, you have to have some degree of you got to hold a grudge. You got to have a chip. You got to be a little.
I don't know, man.
Tough on the people around you.
I think you got to be a little bit different, but
yeah,
different kinds of different. But yeah. I think this is a small, petty, vindictive person, and
yeah.
I think I think Jarret Stidham having a better game in his first game out than any game Russell Wilson had this season would make Sean Payton really fucking happy.
Yeah, so he's going to
That is
55
my.
pass attempts for Stidham
I
against
I
starters.
I
Yeah.
think this might be
14 targets for Jerry Jeudy coming
message.
in. Yeah.
By the way, not just petty, right? You want to shut up the fan base that is in some ways upset about everything surrounding the Russ era. Like, just like prove that he was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Prove straight off the bat that changing nothing but him makes everything better.
Yeah, the whole team looks better. The
Yeah.
defense looks better. Everything. It all changes. It all.
I
so
think
much better.
there's enormous incentive for him to go take a bad Chargers team behind the woodshed and beat them till they don't get up.
Yeah.
That is my feeling about what's going to happen this week.
Division rival, who's also out their quarterback, who is out their quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see it.
I really like the Jarret Stidham pick if you need something, guys. So my start of the week, my stream here is, or actually, I guess we're both sort of streaming here. Neither one of us went with a normal quarterback two type.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Tyrod Taylor against the Rams.
Guys that could have been on the wire this week. Yeah.
Yeah, the over-under here is 43.5. The Rams have allowed more to quarterbacks than running backs, right? More to the passing game than the run game. And Tyrod Taylor is like a plus backup, a professional player.
Yes.
And this is a Rams 5.5 line, which means like they should be chasing points, but not playing garbage time. So I just think this is a really good stream this week. It's my favorite stream this week. I don't have any shares. I'm not able to stream him. I'm streaming a Stidham. I'm streaming a pair of Mason Rudolphs, who's another guy I like decently. But I like Tyrod Taylor over all of the streams this week.
Hey, I mean, you can go back through Tyrod's career, and you say what you want about his talent or whatever, but any game he started, he had a decent chance of being fantasy relevant in it, and that's his whole career, going back a long ways. So, yeah, you have an NFL veteran who's learned multiple systems. He could play football at the pro level, and he's going to operate probably from a deficit most of the weekend, like Greg's saying. So I like that as a stream a lot, not to mention his rushing upside.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm in for that one.
All right. Running backs, baby. All right, so I'm going to go first here. I got my running back start of the week is Mr. Chuba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers. They are on the road at Jacksonville, is it? Yeah. So Chuba is probably in your lineup already, and I get that, but I'm here to tell you to force him in there if he isn't, because I think Chuba's going to be pretty solid this week.
Yep.
Mr. Hubbard is the RB11 since week 12, baby. Look at this run that he's been on. We're seeing 25 carries, 23 carries. He's getting targets in there. He's scoring touchdowns. The biggest thing to take away why I really like Chuba this week is because Trevor Lawrence is out, and I realize Lawrence doesn't play defense. I get it, but that's going to have the Panthers fired up. They could win this game, okay? And you got a team of hungry professional athletes that have had a terrible season. They're trying to win a game. They're trying to win a game on the road, and they could spoil a playoff team. They would love to do that, okay? So this team's going to be out for blood, the Panthers, and if they do win this game, it's because Chuba had a pretty good game doing it. It's a little bit of a spaghetti and meatballs gut feeling here, but I really like Chuba this week a lot. He's a high-end RB2 for me. I'm playing him over James Conner, over either Pittsburgh running back. I'm playing him over solo Zeke. I would play Chuba over him. So Hubbard for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great name. Yeah. So my start of the week here is Zamir White of the Vegas Raiders at the Colts. White was absolutely amazing. It was a week winner for you last week.
Oh, yeah.
When Jacobs was out, Jacobs appears to be trending out again this week. You've got a 42.5 over under, so it's a close game. The Raiders are still alive for the playoffs. Both teams are still alive for the playoffs. I expect Zamir White to get a ton of volume against a beatable defense. And I think he's going to be a top 15 finisher at the running back position this week. If not much higher than that.
So he's had such juice, and they used a decent pick on him. I can't understand how he got almost no work, entering this Jacobs injury. Like, how did he not earn a bigger role? I don't know. I don't mean to digress us, but it's just been crazy.
To be fair, it's not like he was losing out to anybody but Jacobs.
Yeah.
It's just that Jacobs was working at a ridiculous share of the.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
really,
Why keep your bell cow at that level? I mean, you really think there's that big of a gap between Jacobs and this guy? I don't think so. I mean, Jacobs is probably the better player, but still,
for sure. No,
you know,
I do. I think Jacobs is.
he is the better player.
I think
but yeah,
Jacobs is a top 5 back in the league.
he's
I mean,
awesome.
So I like, and if you're of the position that you sort of run your running backs into the ground and then let them leave in free agency, save the kid.
Yeah, Zamir's awesome. I'm going to be digging Zamir in the offseason. I'm really excited to see where he gets drafted and the whole Jacobs thing. But Zamir's a dog. He can play. That's a great start this week for sure.
Yep.
Wide receiver. So I got a great start of the week at wide receiver. I'm in love with this pick right now. Wide receiver start of the week is Brandon Cooks for the Dallas Cowboys. So how about this for you? How about a 53.5 point over under in this Detroit Dallas game? Love it. At home for Dallas. I don't have to give you the narrative about how much better Dallas is at home. They just are. Brandon Cooks is the wide receiver 25 on this here fantasy football season since week 8. So the whole second half of the season, he's been basically on a wide receiver 2 for you. Detroit is bottom 5 versus both the quarterback and receiver, both. Lamb and Cooks could both be wide receiver 1s this week. Could be. I'm playing Cooks over almost any wide receiver 3. I played him over either Pittsburgh receiver, over JSN, over Rashid Shaheed. I really like Brandon Cooks this week.
Yep. Play all your Brandon Cooks.
Fire him up. Oh yeah.
My start of the week this week is Romeo Doubs of the Packers at Minnesota, and man, I'm not a Doubs guy.
I know you're not. Yeah.
But it looks like Watson is out, Wicks is trending out. Reed is gimpy. Minnesota has a beatable defense.
Yeah, Dylan got Rudolph too, didn't he, or something? The running backs are both still missing. Dylan's playing. All right, I'm listening. Sorry.
Yeah, so I just the volume's going to be there.
Yes.
Right, he's going to be on the field all the time. I bet he gets 100 air yards. I bet he gets an end zone look. And I am streaming him I'm streaming him off the waiver wire in redraft title games.
Yes.
Right. I think this is a really good play this week. If something happened and Watson and Wicks Watson is doubtful and Wicks is questionable leaning out. If something weird happened where everybody seemed real good going into the game, then I might change my tune a little bit here. But as it stands, I think he is a fantastic play this week. I expect a ton of usage, and I expect a high scoring game.
Doubs or Pickens?
If Wicks is out, I want Doubs.
Yeah, same. I would say play Doubs over Pickens. Still gonna wait on Pickens a little bit, even though I was burned by his big performance last week. All right, tight ends. What are we doing here? I'm going back to the well I tapped last week. I'm going with Tucker Kraft, also with these Green Bay Packers. The openings in the lineup that Greg just mentioned about Doubs are going to apply to Kraft also. Tucker Kraft's a tight end 10 since Luke Musgrave went down. Okay, he's got a pretty impressive 12.55 yards per catch on the season, so not bad. And I think he's got I thought it was yards per target. I thought it was 12.5 yards. Wow. Well, the 9 yards per target isn't as good, but still okay. I like Tucker Kraft to get about 12 to 15 points in tight end premium, something like a 6 for 60 line like his last week, 4 for 50, something like that. With touchdown upside beyond that, I'm playing Tucker Kraft over Dalton Kincaid this week, just so you know. I'm playing Kraft over Gerald Everett. I'm playing him over Logan Thomas. I like him over any flex player who you don't think is going to get into the teens. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great name. And I'm playing any Kraft I've got. I think he's a very good play. Important to note, Musgrave downgraded to doubtful. Musgrave's practicing again, but he was downgraded to doubtful today.
I didn't even know that. I thought Musgrave was cooked for the year, to be honest with you.
No,
it looks like he's
looks like he'll be back next week.
All right. Yep.
So
Kraft's a great play while he's out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well,
it's okay play.
It's just this week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of the season, right? So, but it's going to be interesting to see how these two cut it up next year, and how the community values these two guys, because I thought Kraft looked better, but
Yeah.
I do think Musgrave was the better prospect. So I'm very interested in how this shapes up. I agree with you completely about Kraft this week. So my start of the week, we'll finish it out. I went real filthy, guys. I'm going with Big Bob Tonyan.
Ooh, getting the shovel out. We're going deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a 38-point over under. Oh gosh, who is Chicago playing? Chicago's playing Atlanta.
Detroit or Atlanta. Sorry, you're Atlanta.
Cole Kmet is trending very likely out.
Yeah.
Justin Fields uses his tight ends. If you lost TJ Hockenson and you're just scrambling, or if you lost like Amari Cooper last minute and
you need a flex
and Jalen Waddle, and you're like, oh my God, I need somebody who's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and you're in a tight end premium, I think Big Bob Tonyan has a very good shot to be like 4 for 40 and an end zone target.
Yeah, the Hockenson comment is perfect because the backup for that's Josh Oliver, right? And I would play Tonyan over Josh Oliver 10 times out of 10. That's not even close.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, Tonyan is a startable, pass catching NFL tight end who will be starting this week for the Bears. He's someone you should fire up if you see the need.
If you need him. Listen, if you don't need him and your opponent doesn't need him, just leave him on the wire.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this is not a long-term play. But I think for this week, if you need a thing, this is a thing you could do.
Oh yeah, I could easily see a lower end top tight end 1 type finish for Tonyan this week. Not even that hard. Komet was doing it, so,
right?
Yeah.
Like he's a touchdown or bust guy with a decent chance at a touchdown.
Pretty good chance at it, yeah. All right, so we got some sits too. Me and Greg have each identified someone that we are sitting. Do not play this person in your championship game because you're just hurting yourself. For me, it's unfortunately a player that I had as a buy not too long ago this very season. That's Mr. Gabe Davis for the Buffalo Bills. So Gabe over here has goose egg, put up a 0-point total in 4 of his last 7 outings. I am not comfortable inviting that type of volatility into my championship game. Unless I'm staring at like a 40 or 50 point deficit in projection, I really don't want Gabe Davis out there.
If your opponent had Njoku and what did they have? They had the Flacco and Njoku stack and
Jerome Ford had a decent game, but yeah.
Who was on the other side with the big game?
Breece
Hall,
yeah.
Right? Like you had Hall and that. Now you're interested in Gabe Davis, but yes.
Yeah, I mean New England plays these deep threat type wide receivers well. They typically scheme against them pretty well. New England's not like elite against the receiver in general. They're a middle of the pack team in terms of matchup. I just it is a home game for them. They're in Buffalo, so that helps, right? They're in Buffalo, right? Yeah. So like interesting, and the Bills have been hot, but give me somebody else over Gabe Davis. I have him outside my top 40. I hate goose eggs. I hate them. And I'm not going to take one in a championship game because I tried to roll the dice on this guy.
It's so hard. I know. It's like it's so also hard. 3 of his last 8 games have been 25 PPR points or more. You know what I mean?
That is the other side of the coin. Yeah, I don't mean to shortchange him. But yeah, it's just, what do you do? I have him on my benches. I'm playing Pickens over him. I'm playing.
If you desperately need him, like, again, like if you're looking at Bob Tonyan,
yeah,
right, like no,
I'll play Gabe, yeah,
play, yeah, right, play that because the upside, right, if it goes right, it could break your week open,
yeah,
but like not, I'm sitting him where I can sit him for sure.
All right, who's your sit guy?
My sit is Tyler Boyd at Kansas City. Browning, like I feel like a lot of the magic of Jake Browning is starting to wear off a little bit, and T. Higgins looks all the way back. And as Jamar Chase trends active, I don't want Jake Browning's 3rd target on my roster, on my starting lineup. And by the way, Andre Yoshivas had 8 targets last week. Man, it would not shock me if he started, let's say, splitting the 3rd wide receiver spot with Boyd.
Yeah, I love it. We made the Yoshivas a stash last week. You did, and he starts the pop, man. I've been seeing him being picked up in several wires. I should have got more of him myself. That's yep.
So like I like Tyler Boyd. He's a good player. By the way, he might as a free agent be a sneaky guy who like moves somewhere where he has more target opportunity.
Kansas City, their opponent this week,
right?
He could do something like that.
Well, gosh, he could be so nice opposite Rice, extending Kelsey's career. there. But like
Yeah.
for this week, as Jake Browning's third receiver against a good defense, I don't want anything to do with this. I will start Darius Slayton over him. I will start Noah Brown over him. Right. I'll start Romeo Dubs over him. I will start Dontavian Wicks over him if Wicks were to suit up. I would start Gabe Davis over him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an awful lot of me looking for. I would start Demario Douglas over him. Like a lot of guys who are sort of in the same tier.
Yeah.
I want all of them over Tyler Boyd this week.
Yeah, the Davis versus Boyd is the only of all those names, the only one I'd even consider being close. And yeah, I might play Boyd over Davis, but only because I would be looking for just some type of floor, and I'm trying to avoid that goose. But like, yeah, they're right there, near the bottom of the rankings right now for sure. Yeah, man, that starts and sits. That's stashes. That's everything we got for you, man. It's a little quarterback discussion. Anything else in your mind this evening, sir?
Man, the next time I see you, we will be in off-season mode. Next time we get to chat on the show, we will be talking about pivoting your rosters. We will be talking about running backs to cut and old guys to cut and trades again. We'll be back to buying and selling. So good luck this week. This is the 5-day period we work all year for.
Yes, it is, man. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Also, shout out to the MFDF championship game, our league of record here. De Gross knocked out Philosiraptor in the last round, and the guy who beat me in round 1, Red, is competing against him for the title.
Good for them.
Let's take a look at this little matchup.
Good for you, De Gross. Good for you, Red.
Good luck to you guys. We're going to be watching closely, and I love it, man. Ed Red's got a couple extra firsts next year, so he's doing it. He's doing the MFDF thing, and we love to see that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, folks.
We'll get a little deep dive on that next week, I think.
We'll break it down how it played out. We'll like, subscribe, comment, and let us know what you think. Let us know who you'd play between Gabe Davis and Tyler Boyd. I'm interested to hear from you. Good luck in your championship weeks, and peace out.